Coverage continues tonight now as we go live to the PECO Command Center in Plymouth Meeting, where Sarah Bloomquist has more on the preparations for possible power outages. Sarah.
Well, Rick, this is the PECO Center monitoring everyday operations, and you can see over my shoulder this giant grid on the wall. This is covering substations across the 5-county region. Today, for the most part, it's a regular workday, but the days ahead are sure to be different as this hurricane approaches. PECO's preparations are already underway.
What we did was we activated our Emergency Operations Command Center early this morning.
This is what PECO refers to as its war room. Already, employees here are making phone calls, sending emails, and preparing deployment plans. PECO's full staff will work around the clock during the storm to make sure the power stays on.
It's a few days out, but the advanced planning makes all the difference in the world so that we're ready to deploy our crews as soon as a storm hits and get power back on as safely and quickly to our customers as possible.
Last summer, when Hurricane Irene swept up the East Coast, the storm knocked out power to 500,000 PECO customers. PECO reviewed its response to that storm and will be ready to respond this time around. They've already alerted their power partners in other states far away to be ready to send in reinforcements.
We've reached out to crews from other service territories so that in the event this storm hits in the worst way, we are ready to bring additional crews on to help supplement the efforts of our crews out in the field.
Now, also, PECO tells us they don't always know immediately when there is a power outage or when equipment's been damaged, so they do appreciate the phone call. Also, they've activated a new mobile version of their website. It allows you to use your smartphone, your mobile device, to report an outage or to check on service in your area. You can sign up for that on their website at PECO.com. Live in Plymouth Township, I'm Sarah Bloomquist, Channel 6 Action News.
All right, Sarah, thank you.
But the big story on Action News tonight is the approach of Hurricane Sandy. She appears to be headed this way. And this is what the storm did to Jamaica as folks awoke this morning to torrential flooding. This was the overflowing River Hope on the outskirts of Kingston. Jamaica did take a direct hit. We hear so much about the U.S. prison at Guantanamo in Cuba, but tonight it is waterlogged after Sandy passed through. In southern Florida, the waves are already energized. Good news for surfers, at least for the moment. We will soon go live to New Jersey correspondent Norma Mushanek at the Jersey Shore, but first, let's get the latest on the storm from meteorologists Adam Joseph and Cecily Tynan. Cecily, let's begin with you at the Action News Big Board.
And Jim, Sandy is a very strong hurricane. It's also a very large hurricane. You can't really tell by looking at it, but to put this in perspective, it's 900 miles across. That's about the distance from Philadelphia to Orlando. It's a Category 2 hurricane with maximum sustained winds at 105 miles per hour. It's moving very quickly to the north at 20 miles an hour. It will be slowing down its forward momentum. The center of the storm, 125 miles east-southeast of Nassau in the Bahamas. But Storm Tracker 6 3D showing that the outer rain bands of Sandy are already moving into Florida, and Florida could get wind gusts up to more than 40 miles per hour, even though the center of the storm will pass well to the east of Sandy. This is something we don't usually show on the air. This is something as meteorologists we look at. This is the upper level analysis. This is 18,000 feet in the atmosphere, and this shows Saturday at noontime. There's Sandy. We are not yet getting affected by Sandy. We'll see some of the high cirrus clouds from Sandy begin to move in. But then on Sunday, we see a very deep trough developing. This is cold air moving down, and what goes down must go up. What this will do, this will help suck in Sandy like a vacuum, and also that's a piece of upper level energy. As Sandy begins to move into colder water and wind shear, which typically really slows down and weakens the storm system, that upper level energy will strengthen it, and then this jet stream gets what's known as a negative tilt. That's what will be pulling Sandy right to the west, and this is really the worst movement of a tropical system. For more on the possible track, let's head over to Adam Joseph. Adam.
And Cecily, it's a really unique track that Sandy is going to take, and unique atmospheric conditions that are occurring and will occur early next week. In fact, it is well represented on the spaghetti plots. Every single line is a different computer model saying where this storm could go, and you can clearly see that representation, as Cecily was alluding to, with it being siphoned back into the coast because of that energy linking in with it. This would be Monday and Tuesday. Yesterday, the variability between these models was almost 1,000 miles. Today, it has shrunk closer to 250 miles, and you see that major concentration somewhere between southern New England and the mid-Atlantic coastline. Once the storm does pull inland, and because it's moving in such a rare direction from the east to the west, rainfall totals will be up to 10 inches with the storm, and the winds, it'll be so large in size, will extend 300 miles out from the center of the storm, where the winds could be in excess of 40 miles an hour. And because it's moving again, retrograding westward, it will actually bring the winds and the surf in with it in the northern part of the storm, so that northeast quadrant will be the most dangerous side of the storm, with a very high storm surge and some major flooding. Where does it make landfall, and where is that northeast quadrant? Meteorologist Cecily Tyne and Jim will have much more on the possibilities of that coming up with the full AccuWeather forecast.
All right, Adam. The Atlantic City shoreline looks relatively calm, as seen on Sky 6 right now, but is this the calm before the storm? New Jersey correspondent Nora Mushanek is live in Ocean City tonight. Good evening, Nora.
Hi there, Jim. We are here on the beach where public works crews have spent the day building this berm you see behind me near 55th Street to shore up the dunes. But it's just not the dunes and erosion that everyone is worried about for this storm. Boat owners have also been hustling today to get their boats out of the water before Sandy arrives.
The atmosphere is very hectic. Everybody's panicking. Apparently it's supposed to be a direct hit come Monday or Tuesday.
It's all hands on deck at the All Seasons Marina, where they've been pulling boats out of the water all day for worried owners. This catamaran was hauled off the beach in Ocean City and tucked in a backyard. The worry is if sailboats like this are left out, Sandy's wind and waves could wash them away.
This time of year, usually around November, we have to take them off anyway, but the storm's coming, and there's a potential for waves and wind to come right up to the dunes, so we got to get all the boats off the beach, or they'll get destroyed or damage property.
City officials are reminding homeowners that for safety's sake, tables, chairs, umbrellas, and other outside gear should be put away. It's the same warning going out to construction crews who will be clearing out supplies lying around work sites.
It would become a projectile if the wind got heavy. It would blow around and cause damage to other people's homes.
A front-end loader has been moving sand all day at 55th, scooping up buckets full from the water's edge and then dumping them in front of the existing dunes to create an extra barrier.
If the tides go up over the dunes, then these guys up front could really be in trouble.
Important they prep ahead of time, because if this comes in like they might predict that it will, and the hybrids are supposed to be worse, it'll be bad.
Jim, this is the areas we're talking about. It's a beach access area, so there's no dune here, so that is why they are stockpiling the sand near here, so if they need to, they can push it all right over and block this area so that high winds, water can't get through this area. We're live in Ocean City. I'm Nora Mushanek, Channel 6 Action News.
Thank you, Nora.
Hurricane Sandy threatening to blast millions of Americans with rain, snow, and wicked winds. It's an unprecedented superstorm in the offing, and if it happens, it could last for days. Tomorrow, Sandy is off the coast of Florida, Sunday just off North Carolina, and then head on into New York on Tuesday. Our extreme weather team tracking it all tonight, and ABC's meteorologist Ginger Z starts us off from Miami, where they're already seeing signs of what's to come. Ginger?
Diane, the winds have gusted to 50+ miles per hour, and that beast is still over 300 miles away from South Florida. This is just the beginning of our journey with Sandy, the hurricane that could become a superstorm.
Hurricane Sandy crashing through the Caribbean. It exploded in size and strength today as it hit the Bahamas after relentlessly pounding Jamaica. The Category 2 hurricane blasted out winds of over 110 miles per hour and unleashed a staggering 2 feet of rain. Here in Florida, it won't be a direct hit, but more of a side swipe. Many schools are canceled tomorrow as Sandy approaches.
This is Fort Lauderdale Beach, and it is usually packed, but the only thing being packed up and locked down are these chairs. They expect up to 10-foot waves and deadly rip currents up and down the Florida coast.
But the real danger is farther north when Sandy collides with a cold weather system, a merger that could create a superstorm.
We don't normally see storms move this way.
That's why it's being called a billion-dollar storm. That's billion with a B, capable of causing more damage than Hurricane Irene last year. The height of the storm should be Tuesday, and it will take its sweet time making an exit, churning in the atmosphere over the same spots for 5 or even 6 days. Now, depending on where you live, it may bring up to 6 inches of rain, 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 20 to 30-foot high seas, and extreme coastal flooding. It's all during a full moon, too, when tides are even higher. It could even bring half a foot of heavy wet snow as far inland as Ohio.
60% chance that Sandy will hit us.
That's why East Coast emergency management teams are gearing up, and extra help is being brought in from other states.
Emergency officials up and down the East Coast are warning people that you can't wait. You have to get your emergency kits and emergency plans in place now. Diane?
Ginger, thank you so much. And now ABC's weather editor, Sam Champion, is here. Show us these giant forces of nature about to collide, Sam.
Yeah, superstorm, monster storm. This one has 3 ingredients, Diane, so let's run through them. First of all, you've got Sandy. That's ingredient number 1. The hurricane normally needs warm tropical waters to thrive. This one's moving fast, and it's dragging its tropical moisture with it. Second ingredient, look at the northern part of that screen, that upper left-hand side, that cold air. This is the clash of Arctic air and tropical air. Together, it's an intense clash that will deliver an awful lot of energy infusion into that storm. It's no longer a tropical system at that point. It's a hybrid storm, but it's a powerful one. And see that line, the jet stream right there? Right. It's this ribbon of air that goes at about 30,000 feet that's always flowing at about more than 100 miles an hour. That this time is curved right over this developing storm, so it actually supercharges, or it's like giving steroids to this storm. It will behave in a monster fashion with intense wind, intense rain.
And lasting a long time. It could last for days.
And last for days. The one thing we've got to watch is where it hits.
Right. So show us the probabilities as of right now.
As of right now, looking at the spaghettis, very little opportunity for this thing to curve out in the Atlantic and miss everyone completely. The real important part here is which line this storm will take. If it hits in D.C., it's a very different conditions for that area than if it hits in New York or Boston. Someone's going to get the worst side of a very bad storm. The thing between now and Monday is to watch us very carefully as we are able to pinpoint more closely where this storm lands.